Hello everyone, how are you today? I am Atiksha, your resident bibliophile, and this is part 2 of all the books that I bought in the past couple of months. Part 1 is already up and I will link it in the description and hopefully somewhere else if I can figure it out. In part 1, I showed you 20 books, 15 of which were part of a series called 100 Best Books Written by Women. The entirety of that list can be found on my Instagram. And the story behind it is in the first part of this book haul. This video is going to contain even more books, and these are just the books that I wanted to get. The last of this video will contain books that I bought for myself and were not a gift, which brings us to story time. A couple of months ago, I was talking to a friend, and the topic of books came up as it usually does. And she told me that she wanted to buy me a book, which obviously I was not going to say no to. And since we were already talking about a series of books, I asked her to get me the first book in that series. She decided that one wasn't enough and she was going to order me the first 3 books of the series. The series was the Sati series by Kural Das Gupta, and I'll continue this story as I show you those books. In the Sati series, Kural Das Gupta explores the lives of the Panch Kanyas from Indian mythology, all of whom had partners other than their husbands and are yet revered as the most enlightened women whose purity of mind precedes over the purity of body. The first 5 books of the Sati series reinvent these women and their men in the modern context with a feminist consciousness. The first book in the series is Ahilya. It is known that Ahilya was cursed by her husband Gautam for indulging in a physical relationship with Indra. But is there another story to Ahilya's truth? Who was Indra anyway? A king, a lover, a philanderer? The first book of the Sati series, Ahilya, hinges on these core questions, narrating the course of her life, from innocence to infidelity. The second book in the series is Kunti. Kunti, a rare matriarch in the Mahabharata and one of the revered Panchsatis, holds an unforgettable position in the Indian literary imagination. Yet little is known about the fateful events that shaped her early life. Taking on the intricate task, Kural Das Gupta unravels the lesser known strands of Kunti's story. Through a childhood of scholarly pursuits to unwanted motherhood at adolescence, a detached marriage, and her ambitious love for the king of the Devas, Kunti presents a brilliant and tender retelling of a story at the heart of our culture and mythology. Now, back to the story. After talking, her generous offer gave me an idea. Since my birthday was coming up and I had not bought books in years, and my collection of books was pretty much non-existent, I decided that this was the best time to replenish my collection, which gave me the idea to start an ambitious effort to get 33 books for my 33rd birthday. Anyway, back to the series. The third book in the series is Draupadi. Draupadi is immortalized as the beloved princess of Panchal and the queen of Indraprasth in Indian myth and legend. Yet, what do we really know of the fire-born queen's dreams? What were her true desires? In Kural Das Gupta's thrilling new interpretation, Draupadi's interior story, often relegated to the margins, is vividly foregrounded. From her unique friendship with Krishna, unconventional marriage to the Pandav brothers, to her quirky relationships with Kunti and Bhishma, and her deep passion for building a loving home. Bold, intimate, and immersive, it thrusts the reader straight into the heart and mind of an unforgettable heroine from the Mahabharata, who remains both contemporary and timeless. A couple of hours after my conversation with the friend that bought me the first 3 books, I was talking to a few more friends, and they immediately decided that they were going to get me the remaining 2 books in this series and a few more books, which strengthened my resolve to get 33 books. The fourth book in the series is Mandodari. Mandodari, a significant yet oft forgotten figure of the Ramayana, has long been eclipsed by her infamous husband, Ravan, the epic's great antagonist. Celebrated for her beauty and piety, Mandodari's remarkable talents and pivotal role in shaping the mythical kingdom of Lanka have languished in obscurity until now. Kural Das Gupta's enthralling tale of power, love, and loyalty grants a rare and intimate glimpse into one of Ramayan's most enigmatic female characters. As the Queen of Lanka, Mandodari confronts a myriad challenges, from her frustration with Sita's captivity to Surpanakha's deceitful ways and the daunting task of steering an impossible dream for her husband. In this fourth book of the best selling Sati series, Mandodari's formidable inner mastermind is unleashed, revealing how powerful women must navigate the intricate balance between the calls of the heart and the duties of leadership. As of right now, there are 5 books in the series. The fifth one is Tara. In the legendary tale of Ramayana, where deities and demons collide to maintain cosmic order, Tara's enigmatic story introduces the comedy and joy of animal societies until one mishap changes everything. Balancing the interpersonal dynamics between various life forms, the Monkey Queen chronicles an enthralling saga of the forest kingdom of Kishkinda. Side note, shooting this video was absolutely uncomfortable and my shoulders were killing me by this point, hence the mishap with the book falling. Back to the book. Tara's journey captures the mighty King Bali's strong belief in animal wisdom, in stark contrast with his brother Sugriev's admiration for human rationality. Caught in the web of their complex ideologies, Tara skillfully negotiates for peace and pride amidst the treacherous politics of human cruelty and animal instincts. Catastrophic secrets challenge earthly boundaries, linking the fates of both realms following the Banner King's tragic death. Faced with profound grief, Tara must now navigate between her past with Bali and her present with Sugriv. In this richly emotional and stunningly lyrical finale to the Sati series, Kuraldas Gupta recasts Tara's role within the epic, celebrating her determination to carve out a legacy amidst love, loss, loyalties, and relentless chaos. Another side note, most of the books in this list come from a wish list that I had, and many of these books were ordered by me at the request of a few people, especially friends of my parents. There's one exception to that, which is this book. Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom was given by a friend who thought I should have this book in my collection. Maybe it was a grandparent, a teacher, or a colleague. Someone older, patient, and wise who understood you when you were young and impassioned, helped you to see the world as a more profound place, and gave you sound advice to guide your way through it. For Mitch Albom, it was Maury Schwartz, the college professor who had taught him nearly 20 years before. Perhaps, like Mitch, you lost track of this mentor as the years passed, the insights faded, and the world seemed colder. Wouldn't you like to see that person again, to ask the bigger questions that still haunt you, and receive wisdom for your busy life the way you once did when you were younger? Mitch Albom got the second chance, rediscovering Maury in the last months of the older man's life. Their rekindled relationship turned into one final class, Lessons in How to Live. Tuesdays with Maury is a magical chronicle of their time together. Back to the story. When I told my parents that I was taking on this ambitious effort of getting 33 books for my 33rd birthday, they did offer to buy me all 33 books, but where's the fun in that? So I went ahead and got as many people involved as I could. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne was given by a college friend of mine. Lucy Hutton, a baker of cake, charming assistant, and professional nice girl, is waging war. She's got the whole office on her side, except for tall, dark, and charmless Joshua Templeman. He's been nothing but hostile since the moment they met, and now it feels like nothing matters as much as taking him down. Trapped together under the fluorescent lights, they become entrenched in an addictive rivalry. There's the starting game, the mirror game, the HR game. Lucy can't let Joshua beat her at anything, especially when a huge promotion comes up for grabs. Finally, she's going to destroy the man that can't seem to get out of her office. The man taking up far too much space in her head. The man she hates. Or does she? Perhaps the real games have only just begun. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehrer. With her ailing father and younger sister to support, Evie Sage's employment status isn't just important, it's vital. So when a mishap with Brendon's most infamous villain results in a job offer, naturally, she says yes. No job is perfect, of course, but even less so when you develop a teeny crush on your terrifying, temperamental, and undeniably hot boss. Don't find evil so attractive, Evie. But just when she is getting used to severed heads suspended from the ceiling and the odd squish of an errant eyeball beneath her heel, Evie suspects this dungeon has a huge rat. And not just the literal kind, because something rotten is growing in the kingdom of Rendon, and someone wants to take the villain and his entire nefarious empire out. Now, Evie must not only resist ruling over her boss, but also figure out exactly who is sabotaging his work, and ensure he makes them pay. After all, a good job is hard to find. This is the one series that I cannot tell you who bought me. I know I ordered it on someone's insistence, but I absolutely do not remember who. Book 2 in this series, Apprentice to the Villain. Evie Sage has never been happier to be the assistant to the villain. Who would have thought that working for an outrageously handsome, bad for her brand, evil overlord would be so rewarding? Still, the business of being bad is demanding. The forces of good are annoyingly persistent, and said forbidding boss is somewhat out of evil office. But Rendon is in grave trouble, and all signs point to catastrophe. Something peculiar is happening with the kingdom's magic, and it's made the villain's manor vulnerable to their enemies, including their nemesis, the king. Now it's time for Evie to face her greatest challenge, protecting the villain's lair, all of his nefarious works, and maybe, provided no one finds out, the entire kingdom. No pressure, Evie. It's time to step out of her comfort zone and learn new skills, like treason, dagger work, conspiring with the enemy. It's all so delightfully fun. But what happens when the assistant to the villain is ready to become his apprentice? The third book in this series has been announced and should be out sometime next year. When I set out on this journey of getting 33 books, I only ever expected one book per person, but there were a few people who thought one book was a little less, and hence a lot of series were ordered thanks to these people. One of those series, and this was on a pre order, Before the Coffee Gets Cold box set. The first book in this series is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. If you could go back, who would you want to meet? In a small back alley in Tokyo, there's a cafe which has been serving carefully brewed coffee for more than 100 years. But this coffee shop offers its customers a unique experience, the chance to travel back in time. In Before the Coffee Gets Cold, we meet four visitors, each of whom is hoping to make use of the cafe's time traveling offer in order to confront the lover who left them, receive a letter from their husband whose memory has begun to fade, see their sister one last time, and meet the daughter they never got the chance to know. But the journey into the past does not come without risks. Customers must sit in a particular seat, they cannot leave the cafe, and finally, they must return to the present before the coffee gets cold. The second novel in international best-selling Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. In Tales from the Cafe, we meet the man seeking the best friend whose daughter he raised as his own, the son who did not come home for his mother's funeral, the lover who traveled to see the girl he couldn't marry, and the aging detective who couldn't save his own wife. Side note, when I received this box set, I was so confused because I am so used to reading books that are 400, 500, 800 pages long that getting a whole series of four books that was equivalent to the other, that was just as thick as one book in other series really confused me, which means I need to start reading smaller books. Anyway, the third book in this series, Before Your Memory Fades. In Before Your Memory Fades, we meet the daughter who resents her deceased parents for leaving her orphaned, the comedian who aches for his beloved and their shared dreams, the sister whose grief has become all consuming, and the man who realized his love for his childhood friend. The fourth book in this series and the last book in this box set, Before We Say Goodbye. In tradition of the sensational Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, readers will once again be introduced to a new set of visitors. The husband with something important left to say, the woman who couldn't bid her dog farewell, the woman who couldn't answer a proposal, and the daughter who drove her father away. The fifth book in this series, Before We Forget Kindness, was released a few days ago, which I hope to get very soon. The next boxed set of books that I have are the Shadow and Bone series, which, look at how pretty that is. Not a big fan of the Netflix sticker, but whatever. Shadow and Bone. Alina Starkov is a soldier. When her regiment is attacked whilst crossing the Shadow Fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Now, Alina will enter a lavish world of royalty and intrigue as she trains with the Grisha, her country's magical military elite, and falls under the spell of their notorious leader, the Duckling. He believes Alina can summon a force capable of destroying the Shadow Fold and reuniting their war-ravaged country, but only if she can master her untamed gift, But as Alina unlocks the secrets of her past, she will make a dangerous discovery that could threaten all she loves and the very future of a nation. The second book in the series, Siege and Storm, Alina Starkov's power has grown, but not without a price. She is the sun summoner, hunted across the true sea, haunted by the lives she's taken, but she and best friend Mal can't outrun her enemies for long. The Darkling is determined to claim Alina's magic and use it to take the Ravkan throne. With nowhere else to turn, Alina enlists the help of an infamous privateer and sets out to lead the Grisha army. But as the truth of Alina's destiny unfolds, she slips deeper into the Darkling's deadly game of forbidden magic. To save her country, Alina will have to choose between her power and the man she loves. No victory can come without sacrifice, and only she can face the oncoming storm. This is my favorite cover in the entire series. The last book in this series, Ruin and Rising. For Alina Starkov, time is running out. The Darkling rules from his shadow throne, while she, broken by their previous battle, is under the dubious protection of the zealots who worship her as a saint. And as Alina convalesces, she must also battle her conflicted feelings for the Darkling and her beloved Mal. Her last hopes lie with the magic of a long vanished ancient creature and the chance that an outlaw prince still survives. As her allies and enemies race towards war, only Alina stands between her country and the rising tide of a darkness that could destroy the world. This edition also comes with some exclusive bonus materials, and there are maps. Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Gunville. This is one of the prettiest books I have. I have never been a fan of pink, but this book is converting me. Once Upon a Broken Heart. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after, until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another, and her dreams are shattered. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses, to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. Book 2 in the series, The Ballad of Never After. After Jax, the Prince of Hearts, betrays her, Evangeline Fox swears she'll never trust him again. Now that she's discovered her own magic, Evangeline believes she can use it to restore the chance at happily ever after that Jax stole away. But when a new terrifying curse is revealed, Evangeline finds herself entering into a tenuous partnership with the Prince of Hearts again. Except this time, the rules have changed. Jax isn't the only force Evangeline needs to be wary of. In fact, he might be the only one she can trust, despite her desire to despise him. Instead of a love spell wreaking havoc on Evangeline's life, a murderous spell has been cast. To break it, Evangeline and Jax will have to do battle with old friends, new foes, and a magic that plays with heads and hearts. Evangeline has always trusted her heart, but this time she's not sure she can. The last book in the series, A Curse for True Love. Evangeline Fox ventured to the magnificent north in search of her happy ending, and it seems as if she has it. She's married to a handsome prince and lives in a legendary castle. But Evangeline has no idea of the devastating price she paid for this fairy tale. She doesn't know what she has lost, and her husband is determined to make sure she never finds out. But first, he must kill Jax, the Prince of Hearts. Blood will be shed, hearts will be stolen, and true love will be put to the test in A Curse for True Love. This book series has the prettiest, most amazing maps that I have ever seen. I have never understood people's obsession with maps of fantasy, but this one is the prettiest one. This is the best. The next book is by Nettie Marie Magnan. The book is Dropseed, the story of 3 sad women. Intertwining stories bring together 3 women and the heaviness of choice. In a small prairie town where the landscape is both beautiful and isolating, we meet an artist, a caregiver, and a dying woman, each bonded by their parallel struggles with fulfillment and the inconsistencies of human connection. The next few books are poetry and prose books by multiple authors, and I plan to use these books as a personal journal, taking inspiration from whatever poem or prose is in front of me and writing down my thoughts on these very books, starting with Until I Stop Writing by Jui K.K. Shah. This one is Perpetual by Anushka Apurva Mitra. For some reason, Anushka's book did not want to go back into the bookshelf, but we have Dreams Within Me by Priya Mudali. Rewatching this video is making my shoulders ache again. And the last poetry book I have is Quill Your Darlings by Ronai Aldame. I came across this book on Threads, and one of the proses in this book is titled Life as an Introvert, and I absolutely had to have this book. In the first video, I had said that I absolutely love these hardbound classics, and I do intend on getting more. And this is the second one I have, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. The Storming of the Bastille, The Drop of the Guillotine Blade. This is the French Revolution that Charles Dickens vividly captures in the novel, A Tale of Two Cities. It was the era of suppressed people rising for their rights, overthrowing centuries of corrupt regime. For them, the wounds and blood was sweet as it was tinged with the air of liberation. With compassion and empathy, Dickens writes some unforgettable scenes and memorable characters. The last book that I received from my wish list was When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. As an assassin for the rebellion, Reeve's job is to complete orders and never get caught. When a rival bounty hunter shatters her world, Reeve finds herself captured by the Guild of Nobles, a group of powerful fae. Crushed by the loss of his great love, dragon rider Khan Begor took the head of a king and donned his melted crown. Now, on a tireless quest to quell the never-ebbing ache in his chest, a clue lures him into the capital's high-security prison, where he stumbles upon the imprisoned Reeve. Together, they seek truths that threaten to unravel everything they know about their world and each other. And if anyone was counting, that was 26 books. Next are the books that I got for myself either before I started this quest or during it, because I wasn't sure that I will reach 33 books that I want, which yes, I did reach a lot more than that. Starting this, we have Ali Hazelwood's Not in Love. This is the story of Rue and Ellie and a hostile takeover of Klein, a promising startup in the field of food science. I actually got these books as a bundle of Ali Hazelwood's works, which is why Love on the Brain is in this list, because I have already read this book. This is about Bee, Levy, and their work at NASA. And we have a lot of What Would Marie Curie Do? It's a fun book. This one is Checkmate. This is about Mallory and Nolan and chess. Ali Hazelwood is famous for portraying strong, independent women, smart women, and I have yet to find a book that has disappointed me. This one is Love Theoretically. It is about a theoretical physicist, Elise Hanaway, and Jack Smith, and MIT. I have not read this book, and I actually have this in ebook, but a physical copy never hurt anyone, unless you throw it at someone, which don't. This is the last Ali Hazelwood book in my collection, Bride. This is a change of genre for Ali Hazelwood. This is a fantasy. It has vampires and werewolves. I don't know anything about this book, and let's hope I like it. This book is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I don't have the physical copy currently because I've lent it to someone, but I do have a physical copy of it that I bought along with the Ali Hazelwood novels, hence the photo of me pretending to read it in a book. I don't think this book needs any introduction. If you haven't read the book, you've probably seen the movie, and if you haven't, why? The next two books were suggested to me by someone on Threads. They were intriguing, to say the least. These are books by Sarah Dessen. The first one is Saint Anything. Peyton, Sydney's brother, has always been the star of the family, receiving all the attention and lately concern. His reckless behavior culminates in a shock accident and a jail sentence, which casts Sydney adrift, searching for her place in the family and the world. Enter the warm, chaotic Catham family who accept Sydney without question. It's here that she meets Mac, gentle, watchful, and protective, who makes Sydney feel seen, really seen, for the first time. This book was actually suggested to me as an antidote for the next one, which is Just Listen. I am Annabelle. I'm the girl who has it all. Model looks, confidence, a great social life. I'm the I'm one of the lucky ones, aren't I? My best friend is spreading rumors about me. My family is slowly falling apart. It's turning into a long, lonely summer, full of secrets and silence. But I've met this guy who won't let me hide away. He's one of those intense types, obsessed with music. He's determined to make me listen, and he's determined to make me smile. But can he help me forget what happened the night everything changed? All the books going forward were the first books that I bought when I decided that I was going to start buying books again in July. The first one is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out that there is no such thing. But in the early 1960s, and her all male team at Hastings Research Institute take a very unscientific view of equality. Forced to resign, she reluctantly signs on as the host of a cooking show, Supper at Six. But her revolutionary approach to cooking, fueled by scientific and rational commentary, grabs the attention of a nation, and soon a legion of overlooked housewives find themselves daring to change the status quo, one molecule at a time. I'm actually in the process of watching the show because I was advised that I need to watch the show before I read the book. Hence, I only read about 5 chapters of this book before I switched over to the show. The next one is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This and Lessons in Chemistry was a combo deal. This is the story of Sam and Sadie. It's not a romance, but it is about love. When Sam catches sight of Sadie at a crowded train station one morning, he is catapulted straight back to childhood and the hours they spend immersed in playing games. Their spark is instantly reignited and sets off a creative collaboration that will make them superstars. It is the 90s, and anything is possible. What comes next is a decades long tale of friendship and rivalry, fame and art, betrayal and tragedy, perfect worlds and imperfect ones, and above all, our need to connect, to be loved, and to love. And this is the last box set in my collection, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. The first one is, of course, The Hobbit, which I am in the middle of reading, as evidenced by the tabs in the book. I actually like it. I have heard a lot of stories, a lot of people saying that Hobbit is not as good as The Lord of the Rings, and considering that I have not read The Lord of the Rings or seen the movies, I like The Hobbit. Maybe that is how it is supposed to be read. I don't know, and I don't plan on watching any movie before I read these books. The next 3 books are the Lord of the Rings series. I could not tell you if my life depended on it, whether which of these is the first one. I'll have to check it out. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end. If you like this video, please follow along. And on this Friday, I will be uploading the book review for Lovingly by Cozy Dubois. And next week, I will be uploading something bookish. I have not yet decided what it will be, but you'll find out next week anyways. To round it up, this part had 14 books, and which brings our total to 60 books, 40 for this video. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.